Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. In the previous video, we covered the two basic aspects of an insurance policy or the two basic prerequisites that we need to cover before you can have an insurance policy. Today, we are going to cover other two prerequisites of an insurance policy and we are going to answer a few questions that was asked by our viewers. So let me also cover the basic terminologies that were covered in the previous video, which were insured, insurer and insurance policy as a contract. So today we are going to start with the question and answers and then we are going to go to the two basic aspects of insurance policy. Let's go to the first question. The first question asked was, people take insurance because there is risk in terms of damage or destruction. What if the company rejects? That makes no sense of them being an insurance company. It's like denying their whole purpose of existence. Why insure something which has no potential risk factor? Let's see what my father has to say.
Hello. Insurance protection is against unforeseen and accidental events resulting in financial loss. Insurance is prohibited in the case of something which is bound to happen or the probability is pretty high. In fact, the insurance regulation itself prohibits insuring something which is sure to happen. For example, I'll tell you, you are transporting some sensitive cargo during monsoon season. As a prudent property owner, you are supposed to protect the cargo against getting exposed to seasonal rain. Rain is bound to happen during monsoon season. So if you transport just like that without any plastic cover or any kind of protection and think that okay, anyway I have insurance policy, be sure that your claim will be denied. So you have to protect, the policy itself will stipulate that at the bottom of the cargo you have to put a plastic sheet so that the inundate or the water which is collected on the road will not splash and then cause damage from bottom of the cargo. Similarly, at the top also you are supposed to put 2 layers of plastic sheet. If it is single layer, there may be some pinhole or some kind of a cut through which rainwater can penetrate. So they will insist that you should put 2 layers of plastic. So that means you are expected to protect the cargo from getting exposed to normal seasonal rain. That means which is bound to happen is not insurable. So you have to take adequate protection against such events happening. So after taking adequate protection, there may be some unforeseen events. In spite of putting 2 layers of plastic also, if there is torrential rain, maybe from one layer water will penetrate and it will just travel and through some other point there may be another hole in the second layer. Finally, the cargo may get damaged. In such situation, insurance company will accept liability because you have taken reasonable care. In spite of taking reasonable care, your cargo got damaged and insurance company will pay. So I'll make it very simple. Something which is sure to happen is not insurable. So it is left to the property owner to take corrective action. Either shift from such a locality where it is a kind of inundation or flooding is bound to happen every season, every monsoon season. So that is not the right place for setting up an industry. So let it be for something which can be easily shifted, moved or whatever it is. So your property should be in an elevated place where a loss, a kind of damage is not bound to happen or sure to happen. If it happens just as a freak case, definitely insurance is there to protect you. So that's my answer.
Nice, that was very interesting. Now we go to the second question. Hi, I need your input in the following case. We are planning to export an equipment for repair to a foreign country. Equipment is under warranty and there is no additional cost on us. We are looking for an insurance coverage which starts from our location, continues till completion of repair, and ends after the delivery at our location. Could you please suggest a policy?
Certainly, such risk can be insured, but there are certain preconditions. Whenever used machine is offered for insurance company will insist that they will depute a surveyor, and the surveyor will conduct a pre-insurance inspection of the equipment. The purpose of that is to ensure that there is no kind of apparent damage which may come in the form of a claim later on. So whatever happens subsequent to commencement of the transit or the transportation is what the insurance policy will pay, not the pre-existing damage. So surveyor will try to ascertain whether there is any pre-existing damage or what is the general overall condition of the machine, including a rough valuation of the machine. So that valuation will be taken as the sum to be insured. The policy will contain that sum, that amount. That is the estimated value of the used machine. So whenever it is a used machine, there are some preconditions which the insurance company will put. Subject to that, if there is no pre-existing damage, or if at all there is some scratch or some minor rust or something, the surveyor will record. Those things are not insurable. Subsequently, when the transportation happens, overseas transportation or domestic, whatever it is, due to any kind of either accident to the truck or accident by loading onto the ship or unloading, or something happens when the overseas voyage takes place, all these things are covered. It can be insured under the policy. Now coming back to, you are mixing with between warranty and insurance. I would say if the machinery is under warranty, the warranty will not cover the subsequent damage that may happen. Let it not happen, or it's not sure to happen, it may happen. That is not covered under the warranty. Whereas the machine is going for repairs under warranty. So the warranty terms will say that whatever pre-existing problem is there with the equipment, that is what the original equipment manufacturer will agree to or take the responsibility for repairing. Any additional damage, if it happens, that the policy will pay. You will have to take a policy, one for your location to the repairer's location, and another policy again for the return trip also, return voyage. So it is insurable, subject to pre-insurance examination. Okay.
If you have to suggest an insurance policy,
you can approach any insurer. Just mention that this is your requirement, and there are transit insurance, normal transit insurance policies are there with this additional conditions. Since it is a used machine, they'll put this additional condition that pre-insurance examination should be conducted and pre-insurance valuation also should be done.
wow, that was informative. Thank you so much for asking the question. I didn't even know there was something called transit insurance also. That was very, very interesting. So now let's move on to the next part. The next part is going to be the continuation of the basic aspects of insurance policy, which we had covered in the previous video. If you haven't seen it yet, check out, I'll put the link in the description. So the parts that we have covered so far are, first one was offer and acceptance, second one was consideration. Now, third and the fourth point are going to be covered by my father. Please stay tuned.
As I mentioned in the previous session, insurance policy is a contract. So under contract, there will be two parties. Both the parties should have legal eligibility to enter into a contract. Legal eligibility or legal capacity means the person should not be insane or should not be mentally unstable or disturbed, or a party who may be coerced to enter into a contract. These things are not acceptable for a valid insurance contract. So the person should be mentally stable and eligible to enter into a contract. Another point of eligibility is or ineligibility is for minors. If a minor wants to enter into a contract, there should be a guardian on behalf of the minor. That guardian should be a person aged to be a matured person, and the guardian should take the responsibility of the minor. Otherwise, a minor is not legally eligible to enter into a contract. So that is the third requirement or requisite for a valid contract to exist. Let us switch over to the fourth and final. That is the purpose for which an insurance is opted for. It should have legality or legal validity. When I mention legal validity, I have to stress the point, assume that some group engaged in anti-national activity are storing illegally procured heavy arms and ammunition in a godown. If they offer for insuring it, or explosives in a godown, they offer for insuring it, and by mistake, if an insurance company is taking premium and giving a policy, they are running into deep trouble, because the activity, the purpose for which insurance is taken, that purpose is not legally acceptable. It is not for a legitimate activity. Similar is the case with transportation of say opium or ganja, such unacceptable, socially prohibited items. If you are wanting to transport or store and opt for insurance, sorry, no, that is not acceptable under legal description. So it is such activities legally prohibited. So now we have covered 4 points. One is offer and acceptance, that is the property being offered for insurance. Second is consideration, which is premium. Third is legal eligibility to enter into a contract. A minor is not eligible, or a mentally unstable person is not eligible. Fourth one is the legality of the purpose for which insurance is asked for. So these are the 4 points which are the basic requirements for a legally valid contract to exist, and insurance policy is a legal contract. So that is all for this session. I'll hand over the mic to.
So finally, we have covered the 4 basic aspects of an insurance policy, or the 4 basic prerequisites you need for an insurance policy. We'll meet you in the next video. Click like if you like the video. Subscribe for more of such videos. Bye bye.